I'll never forget this day in December. I took friends who were visiting from New York on a tour of Soweto in particular. And then I also took them into an informal settlement camp, a squatter camp. And so I sat down on the side of the road and allowed them to go and look in the shacks to see how a large percentage of the people who were oppressed by the previous regime were trying to survive in the new South Africa. A little boy came and sat next to me. He said, "Would you like to see where I live?" I said, "Son, I live here. I'm not a tourist." I looked at him again, but very differently this time, because Thabo was only 11, but he had the eyes of a 45-year-old man. He saw so much. So I followed him and I went into the shack. And when I went into the shack, it was made of tin. The wallpaper was newspaper. There were cracks, and if a heavy rain came, he would be wet. He did everything in that one small room, from bathing in a little plastic tub, from sleeping on a grass mat. And just to show you how small it was, if I stretched my arms, that was his home. He lived alone. After seeing that, I went back out and sat on the curb, and Thabo, my new friend, joined me. I looked at him, he looked at me, and I felt I needed to say something. So I said, "Thabo, by the way, Thabo means hope. What do you want to do when you get a little older?" And he said, "I just want a normal life. I want a real bed. I want to eat food. And I want to be able to be a child and have fun and not worry about tomorrow." I was overwhelmed. I had never seen such poverty in my life. And I went back home that evening, but I couldn't sleep because I kept thinking of little Thabo and all the Thabos that made up this new South Africa. I remember what my mother taught me, to be concerned, to see those in need as my brothers and sisters.
So after 5 years of working in the country, I wanted to just help one learner, one student. So when I did the budget and found out how much it cost to educate a high school kid in the township, I looked at my budget and my finances and decided I was going to help 5 kids out of my own pocket. The number quickly grew to 17 because I made a commitment to these kids, and because for the first time they started to trust somebody, to open up to somebody. I couldn't abandon them and reject them, so I dug deeper in my own pockets. I almost lost my house a couple of times because I would rather pay for school shoes and textbooks and school trips rather than pay my mortgage.
Most people from the community, from Soweto, who can help us, they don't have time for us. He taught me something in life, that you need to love, you need to help. Can't only help by money, but give time to people as he has done to me. I never knew my father, but he became a father to me. I never had somebody that I can trust, that I can talk to, but he came and I was able to talk to him, you know. He showed me love, which is something that I never experienced before. And for that, I think I'll always be thankful.
Thank you, Father, for the food, for the food.
For children by the hundreds living in the ghettos of the South African township of Soweto, prayers for a better life are being answered by this man.
Busa, Luvo, you guys, come up here quickly.
Jose Bright, an American lawyer from Compton, California. Bright runs a school called Taboho. It's the African name the locals gave him. Roughly translated, it means a gift from God. Most of the students ages 8 to 18 are orphans, kids who lost one or both parents in this country long ravaged by HIV/AIDS.
I always
always smile when I see him. The only reason that makes me wake up in the morning and say I'm going to school is because Mr. Bright is there.
I wish people could see what I see every day. I wish people could see how brave these young people are to walk so far on an empty stomach because they want to get an education.
For many of them, this is the only meal they'll have today, yes?
Absolutely, absolutely. And it breaks my heart sometimes to know that children who come on a Saturday to get extra classes because they now value the quality of an education.
I'm gonna put this X down, plus 90.
Most of these children were failing in public school, deemed unteachable and unwanted. HIV/AIDS is still a badge of shame in South Africa for those stricken by the virus and their children. In Jose Bright's school, those children are encouraged, and the results speak for themselves.
In 12 years, we've had a 100% pass rate. In 12 years, none of our girls have fallen pregnant. In 12 years, none of our children have been involved in the criminal justice system. Okay, I'm still not happy.
Many of his students go on to college. Out of his classrooms have come teachers, lawyers, a doctor.
To us, Mr. Bright is a teacher, a motivator, and an advisor. He makes us to see the world as a better place. So for him, he's like our father.
I went back to Soweto wanting to empower one child from grade 7 to 12 and just make sure that they had a quality education, because in South Africa, you pay to go to a public school. So I called my mother, and I have 7 brothers and sisters, and they put money into my account, and we were able to educate these 10 children, all orphaned because of HIV and AIDS. The approach I used reminded me of growing up in a poor community in Compton, California. I saw lots of people come with solutions and answers. And I did not want to be a missionary. I did not want to be an expert. I did not want to come and solve people's problems. I came as a learner. I came as a servant. I came to say that you young people have assets, you have capabilities, you have strengths, and there's a place for you in the future of this new, incredible country. I asked them to dream. And I asked them to dream big, aim for the stars, and it's okay if you landed on top of Mount Kilimanjaro.
So I'm going to have you look at me over here, interview style. Oh, this is like $1 million. I'm so happy, Joey.
Okay.
So tell me about the meaning of Ubuntu.
Okay, so when Mary, David, and I sat and we had to come up with a name for the nonprofit, we tossed out a number of names, but we weren't hitting anything. But yet we knew that our work was important because we're a bottom-up approach. We're focusing on residents, community. And so it just hit me that the name should be Ubuntu. And so they said, Jose, what's Ubuntu? And I said, it's a Zulu philosophy that basically says, I am because we are. Well, a lot of people are asking, why should Ubuntu Community Catalyst be doing this work? Well, as Mary said earlier, we've been doing the work quietly for the last 4 years. And we've held 2 summits, and we now are doing our first one virtually. And all along, it was the residents' voice. Unlike some of the other structures that are serving our community, this is resident-led. And we are the best experts to know what will be in our best interest to improve our quality of life.
I hope my story encourages you. I hope you see life as a gift, that there are people who need us. And when you go to help, don't help from the mind. Be guided by the heart. Understand that as human beings, we all have assets, capabilities, strengths. We can solve our fundamental human needs ourselves if you create enabling environment. There are many taboos in the world around us. Different names, different faces, different issues. They are experiencing a vulnerability context. They just need your guidance. They can sort it out. Tag. You're it. Kia ora.